speaker has joined. So, like, can we start? Subra?
Yes.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. This webinar is being organized to celebrate the Earth Day event, or to celebrate the Earth Day event and the theme of the Earth Day is the Earth observation and the society. So all the participants are here to gain some knowledge about the geospatial technologies, the Earth observation, the remote sensing, that how we can save our planet Earth, what are the technologies we can implement to save our planet Earth. Okay, so for this session, we have invited the eminent speaker, Dr. DEBAPRIYA Datta sir. He is the head of the Seed Division and the NGP program of the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. Okay, so like I would like to request our director sir, Professor T.P. Singh sir, to give a welcome address of this webinar.
Thank you, Dr. Priyanka, and welcome to all of you on this Earth Day celebration event. And as you know that this is very important day which United Nations celebrate that Earth Day. And the last many years that we are seeing that how climate change is basically showing that their impact on our surface. I have seen that last couple of years that how rainfall has changed in the Maharashtra region, which has triggered that lot of landslide floods, which was not expected and which that people were not facing is this kind of a challenge earlier. So these are the things which we are facing each and every day. And for this purpose, that Paris Convention was legally signed, and we were binding to that to limit up to that 1.5 degree centigrade our temperature, which is that the one of major tasks. If we are not going to do that one, it would be difficult to, or it is going to be a very difficult to maintain that to the temperature of all across Earth. The changing temperature is, we are witnessing on that different kind of health issues. We are witnessing of that, the change of crop rotations. We are witnessing about that changing of that the rainfall pattern, as well as that the changing of the disaster which we are facing in the last 5 and 10 years. In this event that we have invited our guest speaker, Dr. DEBAPRIYA Datta ji, who is that the head of a seed program, as well as that he is a joint head of National Geospatial Program of Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. I welcome to Dr. Datta to provide that the insight about that what that Department of Science and Technology, Government of India is initiating to work on these area where that we are minimizing that our temperature up to that the 1.5. So welcome, Dr. DEBAPRIYA Datta ji, for this.
Yeah, thank you, Singh. Thank you, Dr. Singh. Actually, like what you told me, exactly, because that regarding to the climate change, you I didn't really prepared, but what I can give you the overall idea about, to you about that how this, the Earth observation is getting more and more important in the context of the Sustainable Development Goal or the SDG measurement, because that is the important thing. In that context, maybe it may not be exactly in the context of the climate change, but in the others, the SDGs. So that's the way I have prepared, so I can share with you. Yeah. Is it okay? Should I start?
Yes, yes. I think Yes, sir. You can start.
Okay, thank you, Dr. TP Singh and Dr. Priyanka Singh for inviting me. And I think the first of all, I convey the greetings of the Earth Day today, that is 22nd of April, and is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. As you know, like this year's Earth Day 2022 theme is invest in your planet. Though Dr. Singh requested, that they exactly in the context of the climate change, but I have taken the topic what has been given, like written to me by Dr. Priyanka, is an art observation in the society. So in the context of these art observations, how it is important in the context of the society. So in this context, as you know, like I'm not going to share with you the India's geospatial ecosystem, because then it is from the ISRS and the other, all of you are aware about that. This is these component of the India's geospatial ecosystem. A very vibrant and the strong remote sensing program, which was started in the 1988 with our IRS-1A launching, has created, like the other strengthening of the other component of the geospatial ecosystem, the data, informations, and utilizations, the technology, solution services. Then, like as a result of this utility of these, the geospatial data and informations across the governance, there is the policy paradigm, like the geospatial standards has been established. The national spatial data infrastructures and the people, like the capacity has been developed, and the geospatial booming, the geospatial industry. So if we see that in the context of this geospatial ecosystem development, the core of that the like our Earth system or the Earth observation, it provides that the location as a link between the environment, the society, and the economy. And if you see, these are the three main the axis of the sustainable development goal. If you see that the environmental sustainability, the social like the acceptability, and the economic viability are the three main axis of sustainable development goal. And the Earth observations in terms of the location, like where that part it gives is the like link between them. Now, as Dr. Singh was talking about, like the Earth observations and the society, this gets linked in the context of the current human challenges for like addressing that. At the global level, the frameworks are there at the 2030 agenda for the sustainable development, which in 2015 September it has been promulgated, and India is a signatory to that. Before that, this was Millennium Development Goal. Then Sendai framework for the disaster risk reductions again in 2015. The main changes what is has come from the disaster management to now we have shifted to disaster risk reduction. When you say the risk reduction, there the importance of the data and the information, it becomes important, and the geospatial become an important backbone to that. Then there are SEEDS accelerated modalities of action pathway, Samoa pathway for island nations. Paris Agreement on Climate Change, he was just discussing about, like, which has provided the main framework for the, the climate change mitigations. And so like currently the target is like reducing to the 1.5 degrees centigrade. And then the Habitat 3D urban agenda. So in this context, if you see, the internationally, UN has constituted the group of the geoinformation management, which basically in a globally and united policy framework, it manage and transform the social for managing and transforming the social, economic, and environmental dimensions. And this is to ultimately the strengthening the geospatial component of measuring the 17 goals, 169 targets, and 32 the 232 international global indicators. So the measuring, the monitoring from the local to the global, for which the geospatial, the data becomes one of the important. And this is the UNGGIM framework for, for bringing that the location as an important component for addressing and measuring the SDG. So at the base of that, you see Earth observation and monitoring, which is important, which consists, now not only on the remote sensing, but from the data from many other, the sources, national spatial data infrastructures, like, that I will discuss a little bit about it, like what it's about. And the national statistical and the administrative, the democratic, the award, and the other way, the non-spatial and the, attribute data systems at the national, the level. And the other sources of the data, like, that's, as I was talking about, it's not only the remote sensing. There are many other sources, including crowdsourcing, mobile phone, social media. So how it can be integrated to, for measuring this, the 17 goals, 169 targets, and 232 global indicators. If we look at it into it from the point of view of the EO and the, the Earth observations, the main role it, provides is by providing the critical data. That the data means, the spatial, mostly the spatial data, for the real-time data, that for monitoring the different developmental aspects, from healthcare to the natural resource management, and that.
Sir, you have to unmute.
Sir, your voice is not. You are in mute. Dr. Datta, you are in mute. Yeah.
Dr. DEBAPRIYA Datta sir, you are on mute. So
actually, like, suddenly it came, the host muted me. So then I got muted. So it was from a host side.
Okay. We are sorry, sir.
Yeah. So just a minute, like, there is a call from the minister's office. Just 1 minute. Yeah? I will...
Okay.
Hello. Hello. Yeah, actually, I'm just meeting the lectures. After this, can I give you a call, Double G? Yeah. Okay, you have said. Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So what I was like, is it now? Am I? Yeah, I think now I'm audible now.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah. So the main, like the strength of the Earth observation system is to provide these, open, easily accessible, the data for the, like getting the different aspects of, the Earth, the Mother Earth, like starting from the water resources and, like biodiversity, forest, climate change, ocean and coast, in order to address the human relevant, issues like food security, poverty, urbanizations, health, and education. So these are all, the integrated in the context of sustainable development. And this is, as all of you know, as a student of geospatial. So, like the Earth observations capacity give us this, the integration capacity across the different sectors. Now, currently, the importance of the Earth observations in the context of the, like the management of Earth, or in that way, like the nurturing the Earth, is the increased Earth observation capacity in terms of a high repetition rate of our, the satellite in order to acquire large data and also at a large scale, high spatial resolutions, like, so the spatial scale has increased, so that, we can see even at the small level that the details from the, the space, and the high spectral resolutions with the dedicated bands to discriminate between, like different objects which earlier were not being possible. The other important, the development in terms of the technology which has taken place is the data integration. And this data integration is important in the context of, measuring these, the indicators for sustainable development. So, what UNGGIM, support at a global level, it's other than these other two things, also the geodetic framework, because the geodetic framework, it's not only as you capture the data has to be properly georeferenced, and a proper national level geodetic framework is an important component for that, the accuracy of the data. For that purpose, the UNGGIM, they championed the Global Geodetic Reference Framework, or GGRF, which precisely determine express locations of the Earth. So whoever is a member in that GGRF, they work towards the International Terrestrial Reference Framework and the International Celestial Reference Framework, which has a space component, in order to strengthen the national geodetic. In India, that we have, from the Department of Science and Technology, we have established a National Geodesy Center in IIT Kanpur, and now we are having the regional geodetic centers across, six, around another 6 organizations for development. They also help in identifying the fundamental geospatial data themes, those themes which are essential for a nation's geodetic information, geospatial information system, that strengthened. So this are the some of the indicative of that. At Indian level, Survey of India decides about, and there are 10 these fundamental geospatial layers have been identified, which are essentials for any type of an the earth related as well as the governance related. Other aspects what geospatial UNGGI also the champion across the globe is the integrations between the statistical data and the geospatial data. So there is an the global statistical geospatial framework. In that framework, the statistical data and the geospatial data that gets integrated. And in context of the India, that actually the last year, because of the the pandemic situations, the population census got deferred. Otherwise, there is the Central Statistical Office and of the NSSO, and also the Survey of India, and together are working towards that the the statistical and the geospatial data will be integrated in the context of the first experiment will be there in the context of this population census up to the village level. Also, now that UNGGIM, they try to, this integrated geospatial information framework, they try to, the promulgate it in among the member nations, which have mainly this 9 strategic pathway: the governance and institutions, policy, legal, and financial, which consists of the governance pathway. The technology pathway is the data, innovation standards, and the people, pathway in terms of its partnerships, the capacity and the educations, and the communications and engagement. And India is also committed towards the, adopting this 9 strategic pathway and the IGIF for in the context of, our national geospatial information framework development. So if you see that the observations and the society, so this is the main geospatial informations and the socioeconomic informations. They get integrated in the context of different type of user needs, or in the context, you can say, the different aspects of the the human as well as the environmental development. As you can see here, different aspects that we get. So it's the geospatial, as you see, in the context of sustainable development, it consists the backbone of all the sustainable development goals, starting from the the poverty reduction, poverty eradications, water sanitations, energy, and everything. So if now we look into that, this is the global the framework within which the geospatial the information the framework what we are developing, or geospatial information management framework what we are developing. Let us look at it into in the context of India, that how we are following and how we are taking it at the national to the local level through some of the examples I will share with you. And if you have certain questions, some ideas, we can share, and I will come to that, like that sharing experiments or the experience where we get. So if you look at it into the sustainable development goals, the entire global framework I've already discussed about, there are 232 unique indicators. In the context of India, the NITI Aayog, it coordinates the entire, the country's SDG implementation, and Ministry of Statistics and the Program Implementation, or MOSPI, they prepare the national indicators. At a subnational government level, all the the governments, they have their own sustainable development, the goal strategies and the plans. They in all the government, they take a whole of the government approach, and this is a NITI Aayog, the report which shows that it classifies the different states as per their, the SDG attainment. As you see, the front runners, performers, and the the aspirants in these classifications have been done in terms of the sustainable development. In the context of the national indicator framework, this is the way, from the global framework, the MOSPI has again developed that the national the indicator indicators on the right hand side, as you see, this is in the context of the goal 2, which is for the ending hunger. This is in the context of goal 6, which is for the sustainable water management. This is in the context of the the resilient infrastructures, the goal 9. On the right, these are the national the indicators which has been developed. These are for goal 11 for cities and human settlements sustainable, and the goal 14 for the conservation of the sustainability of the oceans, seas, and marine resources. So now you will I will just go through with some of our experience, the Indian experience, how we are trying to align with this different the SDGs. But before I go, I just want to because I don't want to just speak in one direction. Do you have any questions or any queries, any suggestions at this stage? I will stop for a minute. If you have any questions at this level, please raise that, and then again we can go ahead. Otherwise, I will speak one way for this long term. It becomes a monologue. Let us make it in convert it into the dialogue, so that if you have any questions, I will just stop for a minute here.
Okay, sure. So I request participants that if any queries, any questions you want to ask, you can write on the chat box. Okay, participants, if there is any questions at this stage, any any confusion, anything else,
or any suggestions, any query, any criticism, you can raise here, because this type of an I take it as an opportunity of interaction, shouldn't be in a monologue, that doesn't mean anything, because I am presenting something which according to my understanding, but you people may have a better understanding, and that we can grow together unless there is an exchange of the views and on this, and that's all academics about, where you are.
Okay.
I've kept the chat box open in front of me, but I don't see any questions there.
Yes, sir. I'm checking the chat box, so I will I will elaborate the questions if they're great.
Yeah, because I've kept the chat box open in front of me, so I don't see any question yet.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Same here, sir. I think there is not any question, so I would like to ask one question, sir. Suppose involving the citizens in geotagging, in georeferencing the village at the village level. So the level of the participants, they are intermediate, advanced, or just a beginner, just to collect the data. I want to know, means what kind of level of the citizens are there, the participants for georeferencing.
Actually, I will come to that, aspects, examples here, where we have an example. I can give an example where we have done it at a village level, for doing this type of an utilizing the geospatial data. Even it is not for the data collection only, but it's analysis, and based on that, the interventions in the context of agriculture also.
Okay.
So it is what we need is a huge level of the capacity building. And if you see in general, people using the location data, general people like, even in the context of the way that like you will see that, especially people in India, we think that, they cannot use, they have a lot of innate, innovative capacity. And we have to really work around that if we really want to make it as a sustainable. So I think when we are talking about the, like the Earth observation and society, in a bigger term, we are talking about science and society. So in that context, there are a lot of, like the people have their innate capacity, which we want to, build about. So in a system perspective, it is the local level innovations which we need to nurture by linking up with the, the formal level innovation. So whatever we are discussing about, it's a formal level innovation. But I will give one or two examples where the local level innovations has also been integrated. And I have some two questions in front of me. Like, do we have a national level disaster management framework? Yes, we have. We have a, like the national disaster, reduction framework, NDRF, which is last in 2019, have been updated, and this is in alignment with the the international so it is in alignment with the international the disaster management framework, which I was telling that. And also there is another question that what is the
yeah, can you elaborate on the geodetic infrastructure?
Yes, yeah. That geodetic infrastructure
at regional level.
At a regional level. So you must be knowing, like, what do you mean by the geodetic infrastructure? Like, as many of you, like the student of the geospatial, as you know, like as you collect the data, then you have to do georeferencing. So while doing the georeferencing, currently you do, like, you take a best map and then try to, that's in the context of it, that X and X, Y, like latitude, longitude, you try to convert your data, what you capture in that. Now, this you do it for a smaller area, like and generally we use in the Survey of India's, the maps, which is having the, like the UT47, that projection system. Now, in a digital world, like, this, like now, earlier it was our, like the national level. Now this has gone into the regional, even at a global level, that there isn't this type of a digital, the framework is there. Based on that, you decide the latitude and the longitude of your location. So in very crude way, that is the, like the geodetic framework. And now at a very local level, we have many new technologies, including, the course, which gives you the triangulation methods. It gives at a very local level the accurate latitude, longitude. So from a global, like as I have already discussed with you, like at a at a global level, that these are the the international terrestrial reference framework and the celestial reference framework, which is about the impact of the space level, the displacement on the global on the Earth surface measurement. So actually, the geodesy is the science of measuring, the locations in an accurate way on the Earth surface. So in that context, this Earth surface, sometimes with that, currently what we do it in the context of our global, the framework and or very local framework. It's a similar thing. It can be done at a regional and at a, the global level, and also at the international. So this, the geodetic reference framework is that framework based on which, at part of the, on a point of the globe, you measure it, your, the precise determinations and the locations of the Earth. So this is basically, like the crude way that what we are talking about, that the global, the regional geodetic framework. And now coming to that, what I was talking about now, the examples of how that is, the art observation has been utilized in the, can be utilized in the context of the SDG. They are obviously the, art observations or it supplies the relevant data. But the other aspect which is more important is the analytics, like, for analyzing that data for generating the relevant information. For example, like if you look at it into this, the ending hunger, this like it has to be looked into in the context of our livelihood system. And in the livelihood system, as you know, like, this has been, like defined by the IDFC as that system which consists of an human capital, the natural capital, the financial capital, the physical capital, and the social capital. So the human capital and the natural capital and physical and the, the capital, this can be measured in terms of by the, the art observations, in terms of its, like as you say, the physical capital means the natural resource, and like the whatever the roads and whatever the infrastructures you have. The natural capital means the natural resource endowment. The human capital in terms of the, as we are talking about the geotagging of the people, like, and the type of the people. So now these financial and the social capital, I will discuss about that, how that can be also, the measured in terms of the geospatial. So this, as is like, this is the natural, physical, and the social capital. As I was saying, that the natural capital and the physical capital and human capital, this can be, measured by the art observations. So when you try to link this within the context of a society, the art observations, this is the model like which of a sustainability which has been recently developed in 2017, where the nature and the society are basically at a, this is a macro level, the measure, like what you see is a technology here, it is the geospatial technology, along with the institutions, its knowledge and the practices get integrated. So the actors and the ecosystems, they get integrated to the technology, knowledge, and the practices. So if you look now in the context of the, like the SDG 2, agriculture is an important aspect, especially in the context of India, because the majority of our livelihoods, the predominant livelihoods are based on agriculture. And art observations in this context, you can see that, many of you are aware about that these are the different aspects, but they, can address to. And Indian remote sensing and the current status, it provides us a lot of, the advantage of that. As you see recently, that all of our these remote sensing sensors, it has a, like as you see here, all of these cases, the reputation times, the days have reduced to half with the resource at 2 and the 2A. So that shows that how, the art observations can provided a efficiency in the, the natural resource assessment or the natural capital of a livelihood system. If you see in comparisons to this shows very clearly the quality of the, the art observation products we get out of our Indian satellites in comparisons to, Sentinel or the Google Earth. There are many of the derivative products. Many of you must have used it. From NDVI, you know the existence of the vegetations, the crop statistics, and the maps for the major crops. Stress conditions and the crop growth profile using the multi-date or the swing harvesting of the crop. The vigor. You can know from the NDVI. The art observations, like the data can use for site suitability for the horticultural expansion. But this is an example in the Northeast, like, you can find out the site suitability, many of you have done. And also now, as I was telling, like not only the art observations only from the satellite, now we have a UAV as a tool, like, the drones. And this is an example, like, how the drones has been used for a large scale and especially in a hilly region, where the, like the satellite data, not at a, it's difficult to, to interpret. There it can be used. Now, this is an example, like, as Dr. Priyanka was asking, that whether the community can be involved into this type of, the Earth observations data usage for that. This is an example in one of the, non-governmental organizations. They have used in the context of, this is in, UP and the Bihar, the regions where they are flood prone. So there they have, found it out that how the multiple, the tiering of the multi-tiering of the, the agriculture crop pattern can be developed by doing the collecting collecting the the contour data and using that to find it out that how this interventions they can provide, so that the multi-tier farming can be utilized. And as a result of that, the villagers have adopted it for reducing on the flood and water logging, but their income has increased, and also the soil erosion has been reduced as a soil moisture maintained. So if you see, like, and this has have been in that area in the Manrega, it has been adopted. So if you see that this addresses not only the the SDG 1 and 2, but also it addresses the 6, 13 and the good 15, which talks about the life on land. As another important, the SDG is in the context of the clean water and the sanitations, like which the for availability and the sustainable management of the water. In this context, I just want to share with you one of our experience, which again mostly based on the the data which is captured through the Earth observation service analysis through a decision support system. As many of you know, like a special decision support system, it consists of a model, the database, user interface, and the geographical information system. Therefore, you can know and dynamically the changes if you can bring it at a watershed level, and then what is the impact it creates. So there was we developed a program in hydrology of some watershed, to utilize the Earth observations for developing these spatial data support, spatial decision support system for land and water management at small water scale. These are the the 5 regions of India where we took a treated and the watershed and the untreated watershed. And as an output, we got a standardized methodology for the hydrometeorological monitoring. Rather, these are all the the standardized database parameters. We could find it out, and even we find it out that what are the minimum data requirement for the watershed measurement. Then for the data analysis, the standards methodology on a geospatial the framework it was developed. And these are the the scenario generations which were enabled, like the scenario generation. And at the end, like land and water management at a level 1 for a local specific solution at a watershed level, and at a regional level for watershed for the same type of in similar agroecological regions it was developed. These are like some of the outputs, like the Madhya Pradesh, which gives in you can see that the simulated and the observed, like what are the there was a model we used in different places. We used different hydrological model, and again we took the advantage of the geographical information system for integrating the watershed with the administrative boundary. Then what we learned out of it, that in order to take the advantage of the the Earth observations for in better the integrated water management, the physical process also to be integrated with the organizational process, so that we can create and contextual the informations. And in that context, like there many of the new the Earth observations methodology which are in vogue now, starting from agricultural, the drones, wireless soil sensors, drip irrigations. These are being now in practice. This is an example, like where the the drone data and this precision agriculture has been the practiced for a timely agriculture interventions. This is for shifting cultivations, like this already I have and for the microwaves like SAR data also, like how it can be utilized. This is another, the example of the utility of the Earth observation, but this is from the, the other, it's not the visible range of the, electromagnetic radiations, but the differences in the the gravity data. And there is a, the pair of satellite called GRESS, which has been, launched by US and Germany. And we are working with them in order to find out the basin-wise total, the water availability, the glacier hydrologic, groundwater variations. And we have, like integrated program based on this, the data usage. And after that, there's another thing what I want to share with you, that all of this data, like, which been generated through the Earth observations, it's important to make them available and accessible. For that, the National Spatial Data Infrastructure has been developed, which consists of in policy, technology, standards, single window data availability, and the capacity building. And in the context of, there is the NSDI geoportal is available, Bhuban data is available in India, water resource information, like, what is many of you have stuff, usage this, the water resource information system data, which provides you the, the web map services, the web feature services, like you can get, like data from the different sources, as well as you can download the data from the different sources. This is an example, like, how utilizing the data from different sources at a very local level, you can identify that the recharge and the discharge zone, and, like you can give the, the interventions. So this is an example in Uttarakhand. And there is another example in the context of this SDG 6, that is the, like the drinking water availability, especially in the context of, the urban slum milieu. This is another, the project which was supported by us, and it was done in the greater area slum of the in Mumbai. So it was done basically to map the drinking water quality and monitor its drinking water quality continuously, and recommend suitable low-cost water purification technologies and poor groundwater quality in a geospatial the framework. So these are the the data, Earth observation, and not only like satellite-based Earth observation data, but the other data it was taken. And then they did the demographic profile in the slum population scenario in the the greater Mumbai. Then they found it out that the percentage of populations in each ward, so that what are they to find it out that the economic feasibility, this the environmental responsibility, how it can be developed through this type of interventions. Then they looked into the trend of the demand supply. Then based on that, they selected this type of an the slum areas in 24 wards. It was selected, and then 176 drinking water samples were selected in this type of an area to identify the the water quality. And this is the water quality which was taken up, like this bacterial contaminations, the physical parameters, the pH, turbidity, TDS, and the chemical parameters here. So like then through GIS analysis, the different like the layers were developed. Then there was a comparisons between the non-slum and the slum the system. So as you see here, like you can see that the the visually, but at the same time with the analytical basis, when you bring it in the geospatial the framework, you can integrate it with the other data. Like these are the data: chlorine, iron concentration, hardness, alkalinity, total TDS, total dissolved sodium potassium chloride, DO and BOD, the biological component, COD, and the turbidity aspects, electrical conductivity. So then the overall water quality WQI was weighted WQI was developed, which is like this is the calculations of the WQI, and then based on that they mapped that which are the the poor and the very poor water quality area due to the presence of coliform, E. coli, and high RC value. And as a result, like this type of an interventions were recommended when taken in some of the areas for the interventions. For the the other SDG, like in SDG 7, as you know, like recently the ISRO has developed this type of a rooftop solar energy potential, like assessment, like where you can identify that how much solar energy you can harness based on the the solar panel installed in your the roof. Similarly, for the making cities and the human settlements, as you know, like the urban growth monitoring, the Bhuban-based the platform that shows that how you can the urban growth as in a continuous base you can monitor. So this shows that how these Earth observations in important for the society's the development based on the the scientific and an informed decisions decision making framework. So this is an example of the urban growth. Then conserving the sustainability use of the ocean. This is an example I thought of sharing with you. Like as you know that the algal bloom is in huge trouble, like for the navigations, and this is that OceanSat the data helps in the Arabian Sea to capture this. So this shows that the strength and the utility of the Earth observation plan. So giving this example, like our main topic is that Earth observations to the society. Does only the Earth observations related, the applications and its, and its demonstrations is not enough for developing the, the Earth observations utility in the society. In that context, I want to quickly discuss with you in the concept of the social spatial empowerment. This here basically the social science get integrated into these, the Earth observations. As you know, like in any empowerment, it talks about that how you change the perceptions of a group in terms of psychological and behavioral empowerment. If you look at it from the human context, the spatial, the thinking, it comes from this, hippocampus, the place cell, which gives you the locations, and the direction cell is the and the grid cells, like the grid formations, it gets the entorhinal. These are the our glands, which helps us in giving our this spatial thinking. So as a result, we get the concept of space, representation, process of the reasoning. So spatial thinking is the core that how the Earth observations derived informations you can integrate it in the the social processes. When I say the social processes and the social space, from the social science, there are many theory. They are the space as a social construct. The social is located like sometimes there is a view that there is society is located in a space. That social is a spatial already constructed. Social space is always dynamic, constituted by the changing social relations, and there are different type of view. But currently, this is one point of view of a model of the ecological zone, like that from like as at the center of the ecological zone, as you go like more away, like your the ecological sectors are the public places like school, playground, shops, and these things. So in the like this is basically in the context of when a person grow up from a baby to a man, like how their social the perspectives it broadens. So in that context, so then there is an island model by the Helga Zezar. Like I don't have much time in details discussed, but currently in like the Soza's definitions of the social space is the mostly the accepted view in the social science, which divides that the first space in the real space is the urban built, then the second space is the how the space is perceived, and then the third is this further thinking, like how you can use it as in that space, whether it as a living space, it as an the imaginary future space, or for in common usage. So that's the view that how the Soza's the view of the space is being integrated in the social science. So this gives the idea of the social spatial empowerment, which is having a vision socially integrated, economically inclusive community. And these are the components basically for spatial planning, transport mobility, human settlements, urban infrastructure, governance management, and so on. So the social spatial empowerment, sustainable livelihood, and technology, these are all linked. This is an example, like this in the context of the gender equality. This is, though it has been done in the Amsterdam Institute, but it's in the context of the Chennai. How women, like working women, they travel, and how socially that is, their conditions, like their background, it links based on that how much they travel. So this is a good, the example how the livelihood and the spatial reach are, can be linked. I'm just sharing with you because this is an important aspects where the social, the aspect of the social science can be linked with the, the spatial data and its representations, because ultimately the real, the utility of the EO for the society will be the options that when we can link it up and can visualize in the context of our social space. So I think with that, the important component I just want to share the end with you, that all of these things are important in today's world if you work together. Work different people, like from the geospatial background, working with the statistical people, the social people, and in order to highlight that way, as we are going to organize, like India has been given the responsibility to organize by the UGIM to organize the second UN World Geospatial Information Congress in Hyderabad during 10th to 14th October. And I request many of you, all of you, to participate there and come up with your idea, because there will be one sessions we are keeping to highlight India's geospatial, the ecosystem. So there, please, you come and be a part of it. You can write it to Dr. Singh also, like we have been in touch with Dr. Singh, so that how we can highlight the different aspects of this India's geospatial ecosystem. Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity. If you have any questions, thank you.
Thank you for the wonderful guidance, like how geospatial technologies can be used, the Earth observation, the remote sensing can be used from the geography to improve the society well-being, for the social science, for each and everything. Like, it is a very wonderful lecture, sir. Thank you. So I request the participants for the question and answer session. Okay, sir, I am having one question.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So suppose like Earth observation is being used to find out the quality of the water in the slum areas. So suppose using the GIS, using the like the water quality measurements, it is it is able to find what is the TDS, alkalinity, and all. So like after knowing that what particular location is having such kind of water quality, suppose degraded water quality is there. So after that, that society, that community is being informed to improve, or like
actually, like these are the recommendations. What was done, like you have seen in one of my slides, I showed the recommendations. Then a part of that was like implemented along with that Brihad Mumbai. The municipality, so that like there was an workshop with them also to the municipality people and the local people as a stakeholders, to show that this is the situations, and because they can see only their part, they cannot see the like the overall scenario which can be shown in a geospatial the platform, and where it is getting linked, and accordingly what are the suggested activity. So that was told to them, and suggested to get in the interventions.
Okay, that's nice, sir. So like the customers, like suppose the citizens residing there, their feedback, like if it is possible,
they were, as you've seen, I have shown, they were very much involved into the deciding about that the point of data collections to the data collections, and after analysis also that how their like intervention should be made. So they were a partner in the total process.
Okay. That's so nice. This is really a very good concept. So So I would like to request our director, sir, to conclude this session with a vote of thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Priyanka. Thank you, first of all, that thank you to Dr. Dattaji, that every time that when we approach him, that he generously availability and he is very busy schedule, in fact, and he said that very correctly, that the spatial thinking is one of the important part, because that our mind absorbs spatial contents more rather than that that we have a mathematical components. A part of this, what he has stressed on that the SDG 17, which is that the partnership. Without partnership, it is very difficult to move on. Whatever that we are in the geospatial technology itself is a multidisciplinary technology, where that the different techniques, science collaborate to solve the problem and to solve the issue to achieve the goals. And very nicely, sir, that you have connected all those goals with that Earth observation systems and the provided information about that how that the government of India is taking the initiative to enhance that the geospatial technology. In fact, I remember Prime Minister visit at Symbiosis, where he has spoken about the transformation of a geospatial technology and the policy. In fact, he has stressed on that one during his visit in the Symbiosis. And the same tone that I have seen that what the government is doing over here, and government initiative on that the achievement of a SDG goal. On this, I thank that your very extensive session on that the Earth observation on the society, that what is the usefulness of technology from that different applications. I remember that now that the Maharashtra government is also coming up to establish that automatic weather stations of all the circle level, where that you are going to get that information on the geospatial platform to understand what is that the movement of rainfall, to understand that landslide, their phenomena, and also to understand about the flood, where that it is going to, and the prediction of the flood, where the spatial data is going to play a very important role. So in this note that I thank you on the behalf of Indian Society of Remote Sensing Pune chapter and Indian Society of Geoinformatics Pune chapter. And I hope that all those scientists, those are in this ISG and ISRS chapters, they are keenly looking for that the United Nations World Geospatial Conference, which is going to be held in Hyderabad. And going to be, that Department of Science and Technology is hosting that conference over here in India. So thank you for that, your insight about that geospatial technology and that Earth observation for the society. And I hope that all those participants are get enlightened by that, your thoughts. Thank you, sir. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Dr. Singh, for inviting me and giving me a chance to interact beyond my, the government routine job. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr.